Hello, my name is Francis Fox, and I'm a mind control victim. I was sex trafficked for a lot of years by the Cuban cartel that was controlled by the people that did mind control in Washington for decades. Um, but we're at the tail end of that sad story. We're going to review the map first that I did of the energies of the United States. I need to pull it up, but I have to tell you, I'm very pleased with it. But the map indicates something that, excuse me a second, while I remove stuff, hopefully not important stuff. The map indicates what has been said in the Bible. Uh, Remember, I don't like people throwing the Bible at people. But there's a lot of important things in the Bible that match what the Mayans said and what the dolphins say. The dolphins are a consciousness poured into a dolphin physical body. I am dolphin consciousness. Elon's dolphin consciousness. Maybe that's why I love him so much. Anyway, they're basically said the same thing, that the world would divide into two groups of people. Well, that's a little bit obvious with what I'm seeing uh, on the map. But the good news is more and more and more of us will be in the side of what a lot of us call the ascension process, going into the new earth. Um, and I'm going to say it again, it's due to Trump's work. We're very lucky. Okay, here's the map. I just did it at 11:50 this morning, and it's now 12:03, so 13 minutes ago. Canada is gone. Canada is, with whatever's going on now and the big thing that's supposed to be happening, Canada is going south, the United States is going north. In astrology, I think they call it the North Node, where everything is really good. You're aligned with yourself. Things go great. Um, Different destinies. And that's the whole thing that I'm referring to with the Bible, the Mayans, the dolphins. We're dividing a world into two different destinies. Okay, what do I see in the United States? We've got a double Merkaba. The Merkaba is not a Jewish symbol. The Jewish people took it as a symbol of theirs, the Star of David, but it's 6,000 years old, and it is a symbol of protection. It's like a talisman. In this case, it's the Galactic Federation protection. What does that mean? It means that whatever's going on in this country is in line with what the people that supervise planet Earth and have good intentions, what it is that they think they know is going to be good for the planet. So the United States is very obviously very, very aligned. The east coast of Texas looks good. West coast, I one day, maybe when I have time, I'll check and see why we can't get the same healing heart vibe there. I know it has to do with Elon and the fact that he's aligned with the age of Aquarius. He's aligned with what is being supported by the energies in the other dimension, this paradigm shift that we're in. And then remind me, I'll have to remind myself about, well, I'm going to talk about it now. The All Kings Parade, No Kings Parade, everybody was older. I'm older, but I've been prepared since I was less than 5 years old for this that's happening today. And the Bible didn't seem to do a really good job of preparing people. We are in a paradigm shift. Hierarchy collapsed. Everything is community, circular, for the people, by the people, with the people. It's not the paradigm where there's an authority figure at the top, which is what we've been used to. So we've got all these older people that are used to a different paradigm, and they're not making the adjustment, which is understandable, which is why it was said that this apocalypse, which means to reveal and unveil, was going to be a mess. So these people are not aligned with the new stuff. I get it. Um, but they can't even explain. When they did all the interviewing, most of them couldn't even explain. Let me take this off a second because it's kind of weird. Um, they couldn't even explain why they were protesting. It feels like the world is ending. And who's up there that is on TV 20 times a day and is doing all this stuff? Trump. So obviously it is Trump's fault. Well, no, not actually. Even if Trump wasn't there, this whole process would be happening, but the United States would not be so nicely positioned. So I feel bad for them. I'm not sure how much more reassuring we can do, but maybe if everybody does the mantra that you repeat in silence, please God help us with our intention to that the transition be miraculously graceful. What transition? The transition to this new age. What was talked about in the Bible? That even in the Bible they say they don't know what's going to happen and when it's going to happen. That the transition be graceful. It's not graceful for these older people. So interesting though, because they're supporting something to where, like I explained to my followers that are mainly Hispanics and all have relatives that are illegal aliens here or have been, whatever. And I've said, I get a check, I think it's like $1,400 a month. Thank God I don't have to live on that. But when there's a doubt whether there's going to be that money available in the future for people that actually need that check, and we end up giving people that are illegals, and it's said so many times, it's got to be accurate, that they get $3,000 a month and they get all sorts of other stuff, that does not sit right. And I'm not sure that this older group really knows that. So maybe a different marketing, or maybe simply just a mantra to lubricate the process of this transition. And they're reacting because they're old. And older people generally don't like change. Do you know what my masters made me do years ago? Because I'm a Cancer and I'm older and I don't like change. They made me move every year for several years. And I had antiques. And I'm a homebody and I was okay financially. We're not talking moving from one apartment to the other because I kept moving to houses and then finally at one point I bought a house because they let me buy a house, the people that guide me, which are not physical. And I went, how come I'm going to be allowed to do this? First place, I had two huge oak trees. And they said, well, because you've made enough changes in your personality that it'll be kind of okay to anchor who you are with the purchase of this home, which I had to move from that, but I was there 15 years. I'm going to talk about that having to do with Washington, D.C., it being built on a swamp, and those goddamn tantric monks that I'm getting zero help on getting them over here. But I'll talk about that in a minute. So I can be very flexible, but I have moved probably 15 times in the last 20 years. No, 15, yeah, because before that I moved, yeah, no, 25, 30 years. And I am not an unstable person. I do everything long term. I have friendships that are 15 years old, 20 years old. I stay in the same bank. I do the same stuff. But it was something I needed that I didn't like it. I needed the shakeup. And these old people don't have that shakeup. So I understand. But that's how come they're only resisting change. It doesn't matter what the change is. They want the old system, but you can't give them the old system because the old system, first place, it was in a state of collapse, and we're in the time of change on the planet. They should go back to their Bible if that's so important to them. So back to the map. I have good news. The center of the map, where Kentucky is, it says Wizards of Oz in Kansas has been taken down. I didn't see anything in the news. What, did it burn down? Somebody strike lightning there? That's on the map. I'm thrilled. Absolutely thrilled. What does that mean? I think it means that the mind control program has been cut at the knees, taken down, finished. Well, Schiff is no longer going to be operational. Schumer doesn't have much longer to go. I don't know, but it's very good news for me. Those green lines across the United States, the only thing I don't like is that they have points, and they really should be like the two lines at the bottom where you have the blue and the green, and it's creating a vibe. It's very smooth. We have a good vibe in the United States, but it's not so smooth. Oh, just look at the news, and that kind of makes sense. There was one more thing I think here. Trump, you're going to have some family issues. Welcome to the club. There's not a single person that is not having family issues. We're in a paradigm shift. So the only thing that gets left standing at the end in end times because of revelations is the truth. So it doesn't really matter how much you try to protect your family, work with your family, do stuff for your family, recreate the outside world so that your family doesn't get upset. It's only the truth that's going to be remain standing. So do a mantra. Please God help me with my intention that this resolve miraculously graceful. Graceful. Figure out the order of the words. That this be that the resolution be miraculously graceful. Whatever it is that the issue is. But if it came up on the map, then you're having some big issues with family. But that's only because apparently, as for all the rest of us, there's stuff that needs to come out of those closets and it needs to be addressed. And there's change. Whatever we all promised people years ago cannot stay the same because the world's not the same. Okay? I want to go to I had a dream, and I'm only saying this because I know that the people that want me gone look at everything I do. I had a dream, and an old friend of mine that was kind of an acquaintance, always iffy. I think into, I think her family, big real estate family in Miami, was connected to Satanism. I always felt that decades ago when that was not a big issue. So I had a dream, and she was coming towards me in her regular suit because I think she always only had two suits, and she just opened her jacket and she had a gun there. She had been programmed to come and kill me. So I'm just putting it out there, guys. Whoever set that up, not going to happen. And that poor lady, I think that I was right about her. But I feel that she was connected to Satanism, which means that's another group that really would prefer that I not be around. Okay, just get in the back of the line. Okay? Get in the back of the line. And if anybody's going to check out, it's you guys, okay? Okay. I want to address the issue of Washington, D.C. having been built on a swamp. Washington, D.C. was built on a swamp, and swamps are cemeteries that Mother Earth uses. So you have people that die, and they're not ready to go to the light because they have a lot of emotional stuff. And so their spirit, which is the astral emotional body, is really heavy. It can't go to the light. It's not that they're not good enough to be with God. It's their frequency is too low. So Mother Earth takes those spirits, our dead ones, and puts them in swamps that have a pH that's very not good for humans, and they go into like a healing process. It's a cemetery. But Mother Earth was the one who determined that, not like the Indians or that we do, that we have cemeteries and our dead are buried there if they're not cremated. You do not build on top of an Indian burial ground. And we built our government on top of a Mother Earth's burial ground. That's not going to go away. Okay? When you say drain the swamp, what you have to do is what the Indians, the indigenous people, have always done. You have to have people that are continuously clearing while you try to get your major operations not on land that is not sacred. I am trying to bring in tantric monks. I got caught up in politics of Buddhist organizations that want to control. Why on earth would they want to do that? Because there's different type of Buddhists. There's not just one type of Buddhism. Dalai Lama teaches publicly a type of Buddhism. He practices tantric Buddhism. Those are the ones I want to bring in, tantric Buddhist monks. I'm being blocked. I don't have enough of the connection that I have wants to stay in control, but they're not tantric monks. So they're not going to be able to help Washington, D.C. because they told me that I needed a particular type of monk that were tantric monks. And finally they sent me a group. They were the ones who did a sand mandala, which I paid for Venezuela in 2017. When I stood, and I think I have it here, and I think I'll put it up. When I stood at the back of the room, the closing ceremony, for that sand mandala in 2017. Up from the sand mandala lifted was forming the Star of David. I'm going to put it on. I think there's something about it that there's a reason I don't want to put it on because I didn't film it carefully. It's on YouTube, but you can't download from YouTube. Anyway, even if it's your own video and it's years old, what's the trick? I want to bring that Rinpoche who removed that curse that Venezuela had, which I saw 2015, and I would say it to every Venezuelan I met, and Venezuelans were like this. And I said, your country's cursed, and they go, yeah, we know. I go, can we do something about it? That's a big deal to do something about it. You really have to be really good. Well, this group of monks is, but I don't have access to them because the people that were the ones who finally brought them in after I had 7 mandalas paid for. And I said, Venezuela, Venezuela, Venezuela. They finally sent me tantric monks, and this is the result. Now, hopefully I'm not going to show anything embarrassing here, but if I do, then I do. I think I have it here so that you can see it. Here we go. Now the guy that, I'm in the back of the room. Why am I in the back of the room? I can't see the ceremony. Because there was a Cuban mafioso there. I may have showed you this last week. I don't know. You're going to look at it again. So I didn't want to be in front of this guy that's my enemy. So here we go. It's very short. Can't play from storage. Okay. That's interesting. Why not? No? Please try again. No contact support. Never mind. I'll get it up there, but it won't be today. So, who's ever out there listening, I need to get the tantric monks and that particular Rinpoche, who has his own monastery, so we can bypass the very elegant but very controlling group that I used to work with. Because Washington, D.C. needs it. But look at what I found, what I realized. Washington, D.C., if you put the Bagua feng shui map on top of on top of the United States, Washington, D.C. is the area of children and of projects. Here's the map. And hopefully I have it up here. Here it is. So if you lay the map of the United States over this, it is, here I have in Spanish, creativity and children. So our children of everybody in the United States is affected by the fact that there's a swamp there. So it's not even a question of moving government. We have to clean that up. Now, you can't clean it up. I can negotiate with Mother Earth, ask the Galactic Federations. But you need to have what the Indians have. If you have a cemetery, they have people assigned, and all they do is clear and clear and clear and support the spirits that are there so that they can go to the light. So can somebody please help me out with this? Because now it's not just our government. It's not, how the hell did we have all these decent people sent to Washington and they turn out to all become thieves and liars? How'd that happen? Environment. The environment is everything. An inconvenient truth. We built the government in a bad place, but that same environment is affecting our children and our creativity. Okay, we're going to drop that. The whole Jesus Christ thing has me really irritated. Jesus Christ did not have a Bible in his hand. Jesus Christ did stuff. And I haven't really read the Bible. I read pieces here and there, and I refer to it. If something's big enough, I look for it in the Bible, in Google. This issue, radiation, and it's there. So there's a lot of good stuff there. But Jesus Christ didn't write it. So you shouldn't use Jesus Christ in anything, any religion, unless you do what Jesus actually did, because what he said, I'm sure some of it was documented. But what did he do? Now, I could be wrong. Did he paint walls? Or he was a carpenter? Is that so? We should all turn into carpenters. No. What is it that he did? He did healings. Yeah, but that was Jesus Christ. No, 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 no. I could teach you how to do healings in 5 minutes. And you know who's standing in your way of doing the healing is your concepts and what you've been taught. So drop the whole Bible thing unless you want to see if the Bible has good information on that particular situation. So right now, I want to remind you that because we're in such complicated times, that you are to every day, as much as you can, talk to the people that you love and look into their eyes and insist that they look into your eyes because that hooking draws their energy bodies, which I will put on screen for a second. When you look at their eyes, all these energy bodies align. They end up being like the Russian dolls, one inside of the other in the appropriate dimensions. None of the bodies can fly off for too long if you keep that human connection, which is through the eyes, not just through touch. Okay, so I'm reminding you to do that. You sit and you have lunch, breakfast, dinner. Probably one of the important reasons why we should share meals is to be across from each other, not next to each other, but across from each other. So now I'm going to teach you how to do a healing. And I want you to take your concepts and throw them out the window. Do not talk about building a statue to Jesus Christ. Do not use Jesus Christ as poster boy for what you're trying to sell unless you are like Jesus. Now, we got some problems here. Jesus didn't have sex. Well, we kind of all know that's not true. So there's a lot of misinformation around Jesus. There doesn't seem to be any misinformation around the fact that he healed people. And the first thing he did was cast out spirits. Oh, no, no. People that work with spirits are working with the devil, which is what so many people said about me 20 and 30 and 40 years ago. I didn't get a radio show 30 years ago. They loved it. A great audience. This whole we can't be talking about spirits. No, you can't be talking about spirits because the spirits really know how to control you, which is the whole reason why you should be talking about them, to remove that veil. So anyway, you do a mantra. Please, God, help me with my intention to give a miraculous healing. The mantras have to be, by the way, you know the definition of a mantra? A device that liberates the mind. Do you know what the mind is? Well, the mind is a nectar, it's a liquid, and I think that's in the Bible. But the structure that the mind flows, that nectar flows through your mind, are the cannabinoid receptors. I've known that for a long time. Now I have permission to actually get that research out, and I think within a week I will have a book out that I'm sure is going to have several errors in it because I'm pushing to get it out so that you can have access. The cannabinoid receptors are channels of the mind. So your mind loves cannabis. This is good. So now we're going to get you to use a mantra, and mantras by definition liberate the mind. So the mantra is going to liberate your mind from clutching on to the concept that only Jesus Christ can give a healing. And no, you can't learn how to give a healing in 5 minutes. No, cut it down to 3 minutes. Oh, and I have to talk to you about the interspecies communication. Okay, so now you breathe 2 feet on the ground. Do this with the sphincter of your anus. This is from sketching the map for you. Your breathing will change. The bodies will be together. You'll be more anchored. Do the Apana Mudra, 2 middle fingers with your thumb. Your breathing changes again. Look how I sit back in my seat. And then I want you to breathe into your center of your chest, your heart chakra, because your physical heart, I think, is a little bit to the left. Breathe into that. Repeat the mantra. Please, God, help me with my intention to give a miraculous healing. I'll move this metal out of the way. And who are you going to give a healing to? Why don't you think about not somebody that you're too emotionally distressed about, because then that'll pull you off. Choose somebody that you love, that you would like for them to get a healing, but that there's not a lot of distress going on with them right now. And then just kind of like open a door in your chest and send light. As you repeat in silence the words, please, God, help me with my intention to heal. Da, da, da. I'm going to send my healing to my pet. His digestive tract. It doesn't have good digestion. So please, God, help me with my intention to heal Michi, my dog. My neck relaxed. The lower part of my body relaxed. This is like bubbling. It's still not open. My chest is still not open. It's still not sending the light. I'm kind of stressed. Now it's going. My pet is not there. My pet is here. So the light's going like this. Boom. Over that way. Go ahead and breathe. And then notice how much more relaxed you feel. Listen to my voice. How much more relaxed my voice is. Okay. So now I would like to talk about whatever it is that's heading towards planet Earth. We are having a good time with that because my Mantrista movement, mantra, that's a commonality. We do mantras. You don't have to pay to join. Just do mantras and you can call yourself a Mantrista, the mantra movement. Mantras liberate the mind. The mind is a structure. The mind is a nectar that flows to a structure that's called cannabinoid receptors. I have written a book on that, 1994. And I'm just getting it out today, this week, small version. So that my group that does mantras, and they all speak Spanish, because if I try to do that with all you guys, I'm going to have half the people that are going to be in the chat are going to be sent from the different agencies of the government. The other half are going to be throwing the Bible at me and saying I'm working with the devil. And a very significant proportion of people are going to be so shocked by the thought that they could actually be powerful in the other dimensions so easily that it's at this point it's really not worth it for me. I mean, I'm tired of throwing myself up against the wall. But my group went and we visited those green things that change direction and change frequencies. And everybody, well, what could it be? Give me a break. You know what it is. You just don't want to deal with it. It's something with consciousness. It's headed this way. So a comet has consciousness. Everything has consciousness. My walls have consciousness. Why wouldn't a comet have consciousness? But we decided. I said, come on, let's play a little bit with this. Please, and we did the mantra, please God help us with our intention to miraculously see and understand what's coming towards us. We made it short. There are beings in there. There's aliens in there. And as I said the other day, it's like Star Wars. When you go, Han Solo goes into the bar, I think it's called Saturno, and there's all these beings sitting around and chatting and with drinking or whatever they're doing. That's what it's like. So we've been back twice. More and more of the group are actually talking to them. More and more of the group can see them, and we're actually having fun because they don't have bad intentions. This that is coming towards us is not vitalized with bad intentions. But as I said, why don't you go ahead and you meet them with the military? You know what? You set an energy. Don't do that. And why can't this be fun? Well, it's a big change. Yeah, all those old fuddy duddies, the no kings thing, those people are a problem. So somehow there has to be a marketing, okay, that is kind of like cute, but nobody's really aware of this. And I've been aware of this since I was less than 5 years old. So I understand, for me it's easier. But then people, I have the power of induction, so my people follow me and they're having a good time. They're actually telling me that they think I'm going to get hired and they want to be on the team. Part of the Mantrista people, they want to be on the team to meet these people, to deal with them, these beings, whatever. We're having a good time. And so today is Monday. So today we have a chat at 6 in which we're going to go, because I was remembering that I always talked with animals, telepathy, and I was remembering that the government, probably the same trip when they sent me to Tibet, but I honestly don't know. They sent me to live, and it could have been 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months. I doubt it was 3 months, with some indigenous people in India, but they didn't look like Indian gurus or Indian Ayurvedic doctors. They looked like India, very indigenous. And they said that they were from off planet, and they supposedly, my I don't remember the training, but they trained me in interspecies communication. And I remember getting there, and I remember all I did was cry, the same way as when the monks work with me in Tibet. All I did was cry when I got there. I was like, it must have been 10. I was out of that part of the world by 11. Um, and so what they did was they took mud and they put mud all over my body and my hair so that I would look like them. But tonight, my group, we're going to go there because I said, listen, this is where I got some of my training, so let's go. I have the power of induction. And my followers are getting looser. Their concepts, what they learned in school, what their religions have restricted them with, is releasing. And we're actually having fun. And it's not a joke, because this is really important. And actually, the last time we got together 2 nights ago, they gave a lot of information to me and I repeated it. And I need to get somebody to pull it up, and I need to put it available so you can all hear the information. But it's all positive. It's all good. It's all fun. And this has been predicted. This is going to happen. And it doesn't have to be the mess that people anticipate, but there does have to be kind of an attitude. And all this stuff has been handled by the military and the intelligence community that we already know we should trash them all. They're not good for human evolution. Jesus Christ would have never been in agreement with them. They still have too much power today. I don't see how you're going to fix the FBI or the CIA or any of those agencies. I don't see how you could possibly fix that. It's too podrido. That means rotten in Spanish. There's no way people that were good people could stay there. So I don't know. I don't, but let's let that go. And I think that what we are doing as a group is what needs to be done. And it should be done so the masses can see it. And then they can send all their god awful comments, we're crazy. But because of my power induction, a lot of those people are going to be able to see, because everybody is born with the same psychic. Everybody's born with psychic abilities that are trashed by the school system, by the parents, by everybody, except for Scientology, or the Satanists, or the black magicians that control Washington, D.C. So it would be nice if I could get to a larger public. Being it that I have like 16 followers, I have more than that, but less. I have to tell you that GoDaddy is now, they took down my site. How could you take down somebody's website? There's some stuff I have to take down. What the hell is that all about? YouTube, Facebook, all my stuff. That's not your music, it's getting contested. It is my music. I only use music that I commissioned and paid for. And then now when I try to get back to the page where I can contest it, it's almost impossible to find. It's a conspiracy. And GoDaddy, I don't know, what do I have that they can take? My website's down. It only has like 1,000 pages. And yes, it was a mess, but that's another story. Okay, so then that, let me, so I have in big bold list, stop using Jesus as your poster boy. Stop using Jesus as your poster boy. Start doing what Jesus did, where there's no question. You get a Bible that was put together 350 years after he passed, and you want to attach Jesus to that. What? What are you doing? What you're doing is people are setting you up, Trump, for another Crusades. And that was controlled by the Vatican. Catholic Church. Was there a Vatican then? I have no idea. Did they have all that art? I have no idea. So I want everybody to understand that it is a cognitive dissonance to talk about war and say you're a Christian. You can't do that. Is that why everything needs to collapse? Because stuff doesn't make any sense? Okay, so that's it. We're available to get you to have a little bit of fun with whatever it is that's happening in the next 10 days, 15 days. Nothing has to collapse. If the Nazis, if the Egyptians and the Nazis and the bad part of the US government worked with the ETs to achieve such incredible technology, why can't all of us benefit from that? Get the bad guys out of the way. Get Elon in there. Okay? Let him smoke some pot so he can relax. You need, oh my God. The whole thing with cannabis makes us look so bad. It's a plant. It's a sacred plant. It's part of Ayurveda. It's part of Chinese medicine. But in the ugly America, you don't want your people to have that because people that smoke don't make good soldiers. They don't make good consumers either. And so who's so proud of being a good consumer? So we need to make more sense. God, we need to make more sense really quick. Kathy is saying something that I don't understand. We're happy because we don't have ads. That means we don't have enough people paying, whatever it is that means. So I didn't understand that, Katya. If you can put it in Spanish, then I'll understand the message you're sending me. That's it. That's it. So healing. You're not allowed. You're not allowed to talk about Jesus anymore unless you do what Jesus did, which we're all in agreement with, which he gave healings, which he released spirits and then he healed people. And he also worked with the elements. But because I haven't read the Bible, I can't come and bring you enough proof. But he started his ministry with a baptism. And what is a baptism? It's a purification by the element that's the most purifying, which is water. So by definition, Jesus Christ is a shaman. What do I call myself? A galactic shaman. Because I know kind of those rules, the spirits and the elements. It was not easy learning about the elements to be able to teach them. And then I'm learning them about the galaxy. Law of attraction works there also. And the aliens can't deal well with the physical dimension because they don't have a physical body. So if Trump, you can construct really, 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 really quick some fabulous salt rooms in the White House. I'm not sure that gold will do well there or all that other stuff. It will be easier to deal with the aliens because it will add to them the element of earth, salt. Elon, you're supposed to be building those in all your factories, okay? To help ground all of your employees and to balance out all the radiation. But that information came up in one of my chats. I have to go back and get it documented what it was that was said. But salt rooms help the aliens to be able to function more or be more available to us on the physical dimension because it adds the element of earth, which they don't have. So the whole thing with the elements is important. Yes, Katya. In YouTube, I don't have ads on my music because I don't want for your healing process to be interrupted. And yes, I made $13 the last time they sent me a check. And I have friends of mine that make several thousand a month. But that's okay. That all will get balanced out. Okay, that's it then. So you're going to give healings and you're going to do it several times a day. You repeat the words in silence. Please, God, help me with my intention to give a miraculous healing too. And you're going to check people out and you're going to look into their eyes, especially if something shocking happens, such as the ET's landing or there being proof that the ET's whatever, whatever, whatever. You use these metaphysical tools to ground a reality that we're getting thrown into anyway. But you can have fun. And getting sick and becoming healed when you use alternative tools is a hell of a lot more fun than going to the doctor. Okay? It really is. Go to the salt room, sit there with friends of yours and chat or do a meditation. Bye. Thank you.